So, welcome back to kind of Third Age Reforged, because I'm sure, as you can tell from the title, this isn't going to be a battle replay. Initially, the plan was for it to be a battle replay, but I suppose in terms of troubleshooting, this has been a useful experience, because what would have been here, obviously, would have been a MORIA battle replay. But once again, I had technical difficulties on this battle, and it wasn't sent to me by the same player, it was sent to me by someone different. It's a completely different battle replay as well, so it is a bizarre one, this. I'm not sure what to make of it, because you could say that perhaps it's because battles on MORIA do tend to be very intense, and that was the case here, but I've shown more intense battles in the interim between these two MORIA replays that have been a little bit difficult. The main one that I would point to in that regard would be the Horton scenario that I did a little over a month ago, maybe closer to 2 months at this point, where his scenarios are always very, very intense on the system. And that one, no problems at all. You know, obviously the frame rate dipped a little bit, but that's the game itself groaning under the weight of what such a thing entails. This one, though, I'm really not sure what could be causing this crashing, and also the type of crashing that it causes as well is very weird, because it's not a crash to desktop, it's a complete crash. It'll restart my system, which I'm really not sure. I might actually get in touch with a couple of other people who make content for Reforged. I think Scouts would probably be a good one to ask about in the off time here, just to ask if he's done any MORIA replays recently and if he's had any issues. I do believe it's a hardware problem at this point of some description, but if it was that cut and dry, I can't help but feel as though it would be affecting other battle replays, and that simply isn't the case. There is no other map or configuration that causes these issues, which is why I'm a little bit confused as to why this continues to happen. Excuse me. But yeah, I think I will ask for a little bit of a second opinion on this. It does, again, refresh in my mind as if it needed refreshing, that I do need to be getting a new system at some point, probably early in 2022 if I have my way about it. I'm going to get gouged on the price for that, but I guess there's no real way around it. To be fair as well, I do end up getting, because it's technically a secondary income for me this, I end up getting actually tax relief if I actually spend the money on something related to my work in order to keep it going. So if I actually end up saving money in a weird kind of way, so it's money I'm going to lose anyway, so I may as well get myself gouged on prices and actually get something that's useful to me, both in terms of my YouTube channel and in terms of my general life. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, it doesn't happen on other replays. If it does start to happen on other replays, of course, I will need to bring forward my plans a little bit, I think, to get a new system, obviously, because that turns into a little bit more of a serious issue where it's obvious that my PC may very well be falling apart, but I haven't seen any concrete evidence to suggest that that would be the case, at least not yet. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, as we go through into the latter parts of the year. If my PC can hold together on every map that isn't MORIA, that will be good enough for me to see me through until the point where I will be acquiring new hardware. But it's weird. It's just genuinely weird that it's only on this map, and it happened around the same time that the other map started to deteriorate as well, so the late 20k frames mark. And it's a completely different battle. You know, a completely different replay file, different player sent it to me. Beastie70 was in the battle, it must be said, but that's not going to be something which causes problems at all, because he's been in replays that I've shown since and been just fine as well. And even so, it would make no sense for a single player to be causing problems like that anyway. So yeah, bit of a weird one. It does go without saying, of course, that from now on, if I do get sent a battle replay on MORIA, I will not be able to show it, because at this point it's fairly concrete that the map itself is a bit of a problem on my system for whatever reason. So yeah, MORIA will be shelved for the foreseeable future, at least until I get maybe a new system. Then maybe the first replay that I show on the new computer on Reforged may very well end up being MORIA as a sort of grand unveiling of my new system. Yeah, very, very strange. Irregardless of that, I suppose it really can't be helped. I think while I am recording it slightly ahead of time, I am back from my trip away now, so this is a little bit. I'm a little bit constricted for time with regards to what to do. So I will be recording this. I think this will be the thing that comes out shortly after the live stream channel update that I do, because I do intend to do that in a couple of days' time. and I will actually probably briefly mention that in that channel update as well, that this is going to be coming, so that people aren't too disappointed when it's not actually a battle replay. But regardless, I do have several other large-scale battle replays that we will be seeing soon as well. One of which, this replay was actually sent to me by Morris, the MORIA one. I'm sure you'll be quite disappointed because it was actually shaping up to be a really good MORIA battle as well. Both attack and defense having their good moments, and it was all pretty intense. But he's also got another one of his siege free-for-alls that I've had since before the trip away that I took, which is more inspired by Bree and the Shire. We've already seen the likes of Lothlorien, the Dwarves, and the like. This will be the 4th incarnation of one of these slightly bizarre free-for-all sieges that Morris has made, which I'm a big fan of them because they can work out in many different ways. I'll be really interested to see what happens with that one. I've also got a couple of replays on some Rohirrim-style maps, the obvious ones, of course, with Edoras, and a more lore-friendly one on Helm's Deep as well, with Rohan and Lothlorien attempting to defend the Hornburg. So both of those will be on the way. Also, what will probably be the next replay that comes out directly after the live stream update, and also this bit of a disappointment, this one really, just trying to get across the point that Moria is busted for me, will be a new WK map, which has been quite a while. As I say in the replay, I think it was, or in the intro that I've already recorded for that one, because I was interested to see the map before I left my work trip. The last map I believe he made was Dale, which was at the very start of this version of Reforged, so quite a while ago at this point. This one is the Haradrim capital of Fyenobel. I really don't know how to pronounce that. Fyenobel. But yeah, it's a really cool map. It's on the coast of a river, and I'm really interested to show it off because I think it's perfectly proportioned for what it is. And yeah, the Haradrim are going to be attempting to rebel from their masters in Mordor again, and I'm really looking forward to show that off because it's always obvious when someone has put some good work into something, and I'm always eager to show that sort of thing off because, again, if I'm not here to do that, then what am I here for, really? Yeah, so those are what's going to be coming up. A bit of a shame that we couldn't march through this one because this was shaping up to be a pretty decent Moria siege, and I was eager to do a battle on Moria given the fact that the last one was busted, but it's obvious that that wasn't a one-off at this point. But yeah, very, very bizarre indeed. Something else that's also worth mentioning as we move forwards, by the time this one comes out next week, we will be sort of into the latter reaches of October. It's my intention that when November rolls around, that will be when I start to do my initial explorations into Rise of Mordor, which I'm very likely to have already said by the time this one comes out in the live stream update. But yes, if you didn't catch us for that live, or maybe it went on a little bit too long and it's sort of like a too long didn't read situation where you can't be bothered to sit through an update that long, then that's what's going to be happening in the upcoming weeks. I think we'll be doing the initial explorations into Rise of Mordor. I'm hoping to. I'll start off, as I've said before, with sort of like top 10s and faction overviews and that sort of thing, because when it comes to doing battle replays, as is fairly obvious at this point based on my system, I wouldn't be too confident about going into Rise of Mordor on that, especially considering that I'd want to show it off in its full glory. Attila is a bit of a pig on quite a few PCs at the best of times. So yeah, I will be looking to get a new hardware before I start my explorations into that properly, at least in terms of battle replays. But for stuff like top 10s and faction overviews, it's really not as much of a problem. Like, I could do that just fine on the settings that I would want to on my current system. And I am looking forward to that as well because, as has been fairly obvious, I think my channel has been in kind of like a bit of a survival mode where I've been trying to just keep things ticking over, given the fact that my schedule has been extremely packed ever since I started my new job. Not so new anymore though, because I've been here well over half a year at this point. But like I said, it's going to be, I think 2022 will be another period of upheaval, albeit that will maybe be a little bit more in favour of the channel than 2021 was. I'm saying this tentatively because there's no guarantees about such things, of course. Plans are fragile things. But based on what I want to happen, I should be moving into hopefully a different position whereby I have a little bit more wiggle room with regards to actually putting a bit more of my free time into the channel and trying to get back to the position that I was in beforehand. Because as it is, I've been mostly stood still, which is fine. It means that things are ticking over nicely, but I would like to get back to the point where I'm trying to push the channel into a bit more forward momentum by doing stuff like Rise of Mordor. And as I've said, Bannerlord is another option, which I do intend to do at some stage. With the longer that I leave that, the more mods do come out for it after all, but it is the sort of thing that's worth bearing in mind anyway. But yeah, just to summarise, Moria is busted on my PC. So for some reason, the replays on Moria just do not work. Very bizarre, but I guess it can't be helped. Regardless, I hope you found this somewhat informative, and I hope you'll join me for whatever is next.